Welcome to Yap Recap. This is going to be chaos and crack theories. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's going to be chaotic.
Yes, we're so excited. We have obviously our guest panel, and we brought our favorite chaos agents. Anybody who wants to come be crack theoried out with us. We have Easter eggs we want to talk about, unhinged thoughts, and obviously this is all for A Court of Thorns and Roses, just the first book, and really about halfway through. But go ahead, Megan.
There's so many Easter eggs. So just really quick, like housekeeping before we start. Unleashing our madness. Our focus is ACOTAR, specifically tied to those first 25 chapters, like Morgan said. But there are a ton of breadcrumbs just in those first 25 chapters, and they are absolutely planted on purpose. I feel like, a lot of our theories take place further on in the series, and that's totally fine, but they're kind of hinted at in these first 25 chapters, which is really cool.
She's really such a brilliant writer.
Oh my God. So we just wanted to, obviously, spoiler warning, there will be light, aka heavy, probably, spoilers in this. So just be mindful if you haven't read everything, you might want to check in and out. Just be mindful. Lots of thoughts.
Yeah, so this is a fun, happy, safe space. No hate, no fandom wars. No, like, you're wrong and you're dumb. Like, none of that energy. But we are here for the chaos and the crack theories. So all the passion is welcome. Extreme discourse is not, but that's okay. We're all, I feel like, hand talkers. So it might seem like we're getting extreme, but I promise you we're not.
And then we just wanted to say
I'll agree to that.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah. So we, obviously this is live, but I keep pressing buttons. We obviously have people in the chat that we want to chat with. So we might gently interrupt just to kind of point into that direction so that we can all spiral together and not leave anyone hanging.
Yeah. So if we cut you off mid-sentence, don't worry. It's not personal. We just don't want all the comments to get lost in the chaos. So let's get started.
Yay! Okay, so I think we're just going to start. We have something we want to announce in a little bit, so just hang tight if you guys are here for that. But we're just going to start jumping into some theories from this first part. Megan, did you want to start with something, or?
I don't know. Anyone can dive in.
I wanted to quickly just tag onto something, and then you guys can take it away. But back to the Starlight Pool, and that's in chapter 18, when they're in the forest, obviously, the enchanted pool. So I've sort of talked before about how I think the bog is nature's cauldron, but like the corrupted version of nature's cauldron. It mimics the current state of the cauldron. Whereas going back and rereading, and this is on page 163 and 164, when Feyre's describing, it's the second paragraph on 163. And just to read it quickly, it says, "The liquid was delightfully warm, and I strode in until it was deep enough to swim out a few strokes and casually tread in place. Not water, but something smoother, thicker. Not oil, but something purer, thinner, like being wrapped in warm silk." And then on the next page, the beginning, it just describes the water as warm and light. And I think this sort of alludes to like the pre-corrupted cauldron in the same way that the drop is sort of that pre-corrupted making. It has the golden light, it's warm, it shares that like black liquid, that sort of like unknown liquid, but one being like what Nesta and Elaine's making, and then the Bog of Urid, they're all cold and dark and depthless and icy. And then on the other end of it, you have like the warm, the golden light, the bubbles, the effervescent bubbles. So what do you guys think? Do you think that we're seeing like two land versions of the cauldron, similar to what do you think? Let me stop talking and digging myself in a hole here.
I love this. Were you just talking about this on the podcast?
I kind of hinted at it, but I hadn't explored it except for in that moment. So I just was curious because when I got to it in our reread, I was like, this is the language of the drop. It's the same sort of talk. What do you think, Candy?
I'm looking at what Kat said. I agree with Kat that I think it's related to the witch's homeland. And yeah, I agree that it is definitely, those two water references are definitely juxtaposed to each other, which is how she always treats Rhysand and Tamlin. Like they are always opposite each other. So if night court, night is death and stuff, and then spring is light, it would make sense that the good part of the cauldron would be in the spring court and the bad part of the cauldron would be in the bog. So yeah, I totally agree. That's a great theory.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And we do have that that imagery too kind of feeds into like the separation and like the breaking of the cauldron. So yeah, like when was that initial separation and break? I feel like this all relates back to Morgan, your theory that this is like the God realm, like the God's realm, that this is either the other world or this, because they talk about like long forgotten gods, but it's like maybe it's because this is the beginning. This is the creation of the gods. Like they are the gods and you don't even know it. That's why there's long forgotten gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, and why there are gods in Throne of Glass and not in ACOTAR.
Right. That's why I do not think that, and then here's crack theories, right? That's why I don't think Throne of Glass is the start. Like if we're going in timeline, I don't think Throne of Glass is the start. I think it's the end because they have gods. They have all of this stuff. And we see this imagery from things that we're getting in ACOTAR and Crescent City, and it's like, well, how do we have these like flashbacks to these things if Throne of Glass is supposed to be the start? Like, I think that she's just again such a brilliant writer, and it feeds into my whole like time jump, my bootstrap paradox thing, where all three of these are so interconnected. It's like you can't really even pick out a timeline because there's so much time travel going on. I think the world walking is time traveling. I don't think they're going to different worlds. I think they're going to different times within the same world.
I think we're being given more of the history of Throne of Glass. So like it's almost like a circle Throne of Glass. The earliest timeline you get in any of the books is from Throne of Glass. Well, if you discount the Asteri telling them, hey, we left our home planet at this point. Because if Airly actually is, what is the name of it? Aphraxia? Yeah, so that was at, 680 AE. And we are now currently at like 32,000 AE in the Crescent City one. If Aelin falling through wasn't actually falling through time and was just falling through worlds, that means she is also now currently at 32,000 AE. So I think the Throne of Glass universe wraps around and encapsulates all of the others. So we might, if it could be the beginning and the end of where everything is, and like Prithian is the right side up of Hal's upside down, which I got that really weird crack theory by reading a snippet from Crescent City where Hunt and Bryce are talking to Adis, Apollyon, and Thanatos, where they're sitting in a replica, an identical replica of Chaos's temple that looks just like Urd's temple, which is above. And instead of an altar raised in the middle, it's a pit going down. So I'm like, this is the upside down. It's like the opposite.
Yeah, and then Stranger Things reference.
Yeah, and then like again, you know how the algorithm was acting weird, and we're getting posts that we liked like 2 months ago. One that someone posted of all of the of some of the deleted Pinterest photos, and a lot of it was of like, what if one planet's hell is another, and then really upside down Stranger Things references. So I was like, plus I just watched the finale of Stranger Things, so I'm like,
oh, that's really interesting.
So I cracked out with all of that. So I think Throne of Glass encapsulates everything, and everything else is just sort of setting the scene for them.
I think that's a really good idea. Did you want to speak, Sarah? I didn't want to talk in front of you.
Oh, I was just gonna, not to like take us back to the timeline moment, but I agree. I do think that Prithian is like where it starts, mostly because in Air of Fire, Aelin is remarking about these Fae and Winland and like Rowan being so much more different than the Fae of old that were dancing around the maypole. And in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, she's describing Prithian, like these graceful creatures, right? So I agree with that. And I was looking, I went and got my iPad so I could look at the Kindle when you were reading that section, Morgan. And I always found it interesting that she said that Tamlin was no more than a glittering golden figure. Because I feel like that moment when people shine, people think of it as being starborn. And I thought that was just like a choice to describe him kind of just like as a golden figure right before they enter the pool, the pond of all the theories, I feel like.
Yeah, which is interesting. I did want to touch on the comments really quick, but just to respond to that, I think that's interesting because going back to like the ages of man, the golden light that you see through him, I think how you could connect that to the Daglin, if we're going by the ages of man theory, then it's like their power is likely the Daglin's power. So I think you can correlate it anyway across the board, but I love the golden theory, the golden connection there to him embodying that. Someone in the comments, they're kind of talking about the enchanted pool back a ways. And I think Ari was saying, I think this is what she was talking about the enchanted pool not giving them anything when they were in it, and sort of like posing the question, how is, like, maybe it's not so similar because they didn't really get anything out of it versus like going in and out of the bog or in and out of the cauldron. And I just wanted to kind of bring into the chat that Tamlin does say, remember she asks what happens if you drink it, and Mal hit on this, and he's basically like, it would make you forget all of your worries. And they kind of make it seem like that's a joke, but then when she gets in it and she's like dipping her hair back and leaning her hair back in it, she says, I forgot. I can get the exact line. Let me just pull it really quick. She says, every ache in my body oozing away to nothing. And then she's thinking about her dad. And then it says, I tipped my hair back in the water, clearing the memory of my father's face that day that the news arrived at the sinking. So I think that she kind of is embodying this in mythology, and I'm not even linking it to the underworld, but there is obviously this like otherworldly presence of water in mythology that can, or like liquid that can cleanse you, make your worries go away, sort of give you this like euphoric sense of self. So maybe because it's like the benevolent aspect of the cauldron, maybe it's just making you feel good, and she deserves that. Good for her.
It's almost like baptismal, like
Yeah.
like even though she didn't drink it, it also makes you think of like, just because you didn't physically drink it, like you're still absorbing everything that you were.
I just want to point out one of my favorite lines in the book that often gets overlooked, but at the very end of this section, it says, maybe it was the enchanted pool, or maybe it was the genuine interest behind the question, but I smiled and told him about those years in the woods. She often is talking to him about her past and her life, like you do with a loved one, with a lover. And so when in the next books, when she's like giving him all this grief, it's sort of like, no, you have a real relationship that was very beautiful, just hidden from us.
They were able to, I was talking about this on Mal's post. She suppresses her feelings, which is, I think, a big reason why she is like a hater towards Nesta and their sibling rivalry, is that one of them expresses their feelings outwardly, and maybe not in the best way, and one of them suppresses their feelings. So neither of them are doing it really appropriately. And I think that Feyre is able to face those emotions like Mal talks about in her video, which go watch it if you haven't seen it. And then later she faces them, I think, in the Ouroboros, and she doesn't really self-reflect very well. But I think that you're exactly right, Candy. I think she's able to express her feelings that she's never been able to express, because in trauma, you don't have time for that. You don't have time to face yourself, I think.
He also allows her to take out her anger on him. Like he allows that. Like she blames him for really dumb things in this book, and you can see in this book, you can see that she's doing it. You don't see it as well in the upcoming books, and he just is like, yeah, okay, you can blame me, that's fine. Like,
we also have like the imagery where he even like mentions how they're similar. Like he feels seen by her, and I think that opens her eyes to being seen by him, and that's when their love story like starts to blossom. And it makes me think of like, eventually down the line when we do meet Rhys and we see that, it's like you're just talking about. Tamlin encourages her to open up. Like Rhys kind of encourages her to shut down, to like, not to shut down to him, but to just like have this hard outer shell. Like you're a warrior, you're this, you're that. And where Tamlin is like trying to feed her emotion, like you've had a tough life. Now you get to be here. You know what I mean? Like you get to, even though there's an impending war, like you can be calm, you can paint, you can do, like have this life that you've never had to have before.
I think part of Tamlin's charm too is that he's almost like a little kid, really. Like he was the youngest. He didn't expect to get the power until all of a sudden, like, it's thrust on him. He's floundering, and then next thing you know, Amarantha comes in, and he's just like, this is his first time talking to a girl.
He actually had, like, he even says that he actually had quite a few.
Oh, really? Okay.
Uh-huh. Well, it's funny because the way she interprets him and the way he actually is very different. But no, he's been around.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think I always compared in my head to Lorcan and who was it, Gabriel? The videos going around where it's like when they were like traveling and bedding women together. Who was it?
Yes.
I think I've been tainted by that Tamlin AI video where he's playing the fiddle at Calamari.
It was the AI, I think. That was crazy.
Like, he's not pulling any woman. I'm sorry.
That version of the AI, but Tamlin is golden and glorious.
Tamlin is so good looking. Amarantha had to cover his entire face. Like, they show the mask being like this. The mask covers his entire face. She has no idea. When she says that Rhys is the best looking man she's ever seen, she had never seen Tamlin.
I feel like we got robbed with Tamlin's like description of his.
Me too.
Because she's just like, oh, I knew you'd have high cheekbones and green eyes. Like,
Yes.
that was it.
I knew he'd be
The mask
handsome.
comes off. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, you have eyeballs.
Yeah.
So funny. That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I also found it interesting that this is the part where Feyre makes a joke for the first time, and I would argue one of the only times in the entire series.
Oh, and when is that when Lucian's like, oh,
I might die of surprise. Yeah. You made a joke, Feyre,
Yes.
and then she makes another one, and I'm like, she really doesn't do that. Like, and I feel like when you start, there's something vulnerable about humor, right? That like you allow people to see you. And honestly, I'm like, I'm listening to you all talk, and I'm pretty like not into the ships or anything, but I'm like, you're right. She is vulnerable in that sense because although I read over it and but about the joke, looking at it, SJM makes a point to remind us, like, no, she's having fun here. She's
Yeah.
letting herself be seen. And I think that's something that because it was humor and it's something like I love laughing. I'm like, oh yeah, ha. But then I'm thinking, I'm like, she doesn't do this nowhere else.
Yeah.
She
And
even says at some point, like, she couldn't remember the last time she truly laughed. And then at the end of one chapter, she says that, you know, it's the first time she's actually allowed herself to have hope for a future. Whereas before she was constantly in survival mode and just wanted to get her sisters married, wanted to get food on the table, like wanted her and her dad to survive. And now she actually has hope for a future, whatever that future may look like. She doesn't even have an expectation for it, which I think that's a first for her.
yeah, that she
One of the
doesn't
things
have
she
to
says-
blame. Sorry, go ahead.
So the one thing she says on 230, this is the end of chapter 25. It says, it was the happiest moment of my life. It's in past tense. It was the happiest moment of my life. She never says anything like that again.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
She got healed by Tam.
Also, what a great last sentence to end, like, get to our halfway point. Like,
I
when I
know.
was, like, looking at that, like,
Yeah, the last thing I have here, she does think and reflect on her actions finally too, because like again with the suppressing, she doesn't even have time when you're in trauma. You don't have time to be, self-aware. Everyone should always strive to be, but it's hard to be self-aware. It's hard to feel positive anything, especially when whether or not it's true, whether or not there's fact to she was the only one responsible for taking care of them. She felt that way, and there's validity in feeling like that, especially as the youngest child. I am sure that experience in any regard, but I just think speaking to the parentification of those children, that hits me in my core, and I feel like that was her moment of letting that off of her shoulder. She got to just be a kid, or like a person, a singular an individual.
Nervous system.
Mhm.
Well, it's interesting. Ari says, I feel like Tamlin makes her shut down. And no, and we know this because in ACOTAR, we see her like blame Tamlin for distracting her from like thinking about her family with the paints that she asked for and having fun and doing the things. She's really mad at Tamlin for that, when really that's just her own guilt. Tamlin's just wearing it. And when we get into the next book, where she is feeling so shut down by him, we see him constantly reaching out to her, constantly asking her to talk, saying, okay, well, why don't you paint? Why don't you do this? Why don't we have a conversation? And she's always the one who's like, no, 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 no. And he's like, okay, I'm going to give you your space, because that's what he did the first time, and it worked. The second time it didn't, but he never shut her down, ever. Yeah. The only time he ever shut her down when he was heading off to war, when he locked her up and she wanted to follow him into an active war zone. That was the only time that he was like, we can't talk about this now. Like, I'm under attack right now.
Yeah. And she would try to distract him. I know that we're getting ahead of ourselves into the book too, but she would, anytime he would want to talk about something serious, then she's like, spicy time. Like, let's not. Nope. Like,
I think that has a lot to do
multiple
with
times.
Healing. Yeah.
It's funny because she manipulates Tamlin with sex the same way that Rhysand manipulates her with sex.
Yeah, and I think one of them's 530 years old. So Rhys is on the shit list as far as that goes. But I do think that she's learning. That's like not Tamlin's fault, but that's also a learning process that she's learning very late. And I do think that what Tamlin does, where it seems like they were saying maybe he's not attending to her, I think that his form of healing and like helping her cope is just to let her, like just to let her. Like, you be, I'm here, and you just be. And let's just see what comes out of your mouth. Let's just see what feelings you are able to express. And I think that that's a fine way of helping someone cope.
Because she's probably never done that before. Like, even like just the small snippet that we got of her in the human realm, all of her thoughts, like she's having all of these internally in her mind. She doesn't express these thoughts to her sisters, to her father, to the, what's his name? I can't think of his name that she goes off into the barn with. Yeah, internally thinking all of these things. So like now Tamlin's giving her like, I love that you do see him, like, it's like she'll give the imagery of like him just kind of sitting back and watching her and letting her speak. And she's never had that before, or felt she has. Maybe she was given the opportunity, but she was in such survival mode. It was like she kept everything so tight to herself.
She definitely did make her feelings known in other ways, though, because Nesta straight up calls her out. Your goal was to get us married off so you and Dad could live happily ever after in the cabin. Like,
and then she does it to Nesta.
She is communicative, whether or not she used her words or Nesta's just that shrewd, or they all have that weird, like, I can kind of read your thoughts going on, which is another. So it's like, yeah, but she nailed it, like spot on. One page you're hearing her say, I just want them married in a way so me and Dad can live happily ever after.
Yeah.
And I wonder about Nesta's, like, about their, they're definitely not just human. You know what I mean? Like, is that Nesta, has Feyre said that out loud, or that's just Nesta intuitively having this, like, sixth sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had put in the comments when we were first starting, I wasn't sure if I was coming on, but I got brave. But I thought it was interesting because as I was hearing because I've read the book like 3 times, but I'm listening to it again, which is like slower, I think, and hitting me differently. Um, and something I've noticed is that we know, right, we find out later, sorry, that Nesta can see through the glamour. But what I've been finding like wild is that, sorry, my earphones coming out. Something that I found interesting was that Feyre's having these dreams, and the dreams are so premonition-like, or but not of her. I feel like she's seeing what will happen to her neighbor, right? Like, in the dream. And so for me, I'm like, that reminds me of, and this is back in Era of Fire, but when Manon was in Fenharrow talking about the abilities that witches did have when magic was gone. And I feel like to tell the sex of a baby, having dreams or whatever. And for me, I agree, like, I don't think they're human. Although she's being glamored, and Nesta can see through them, she's having some type of like premonition of what's to come. She keeps on seeing the red nails, right? I thought that was interesting.
I think that's such a good point, because we've been talking about how, I mean, this might not be realistic, but just to consider, when they had the triangle of no magic in Throne of Glass, Aelin, Throne of Glass spoilers, Selena, okay, sorry. She was a Selena at the time, is running through, she's having these experiences when she drags Dorian up the stairs, and when she's running after running back to find Nehemia. Those are moments where she's still within the no magic zone, but she is like exhibiting signs of magic or fey abilities. And so we've sort of talked about, is outside of Prythian similar to the no magic zone? And if it is, they could still kind of maybe exhibit these minor abilities like dreaming. I feel like dreaming is like a liminal space sort of experience.
In that dream, though, there's a shadow in that dream.
Yeah, and I think that, well, yes, but I still think having the ability to dreams sort of connect you to like the mother, the core of just existence in general. So maybe that could be just symbolizing that she does maybe still have magic, and maybe that's why she's able to access that.
I love that theory, except the human queens have magic and they live outside the wall. And
do they have magic? Does it say they have magic? Because it says mortal queens.
Well, they can winnow.
They can?
Yeah. That was part of the hidden like powers that the queens have.
Good point about it.
They're able to winnow.
Right. So that makes me think, and Throne of Glass was what I just read last, but didn't Erewhon, couldn't he still use his abilities, but he was technically within the no magic zone?
I think because wizards are witches. I think they're human witches. I don't, because if they're not human, that makes Andress's sacrifice worthless. Yeah. And all the guards and stuff. So she's got to be human, or I will be devastated. But
I know.
A witch.
I feel that way too.
An iron witch. That's why all the iron.
But I mean, Irene was human, no?
That's true. So but they were also given magic from the land, from the Asterian Fae that was there before. So I don't know how, but just to comment that.
I'm like, so it could be kind of like bred into them too, but I thought they could only winnow when they were all together. Like
I don't exactly know that, but remember they're called mortal queens. And remember how we were talking about mortal not necessarily being human, mortal just being not the top tier, because there's like we talked about how Fae are technically immortal, but in relation to gods, they're not. They are still mortal. So, and then we have Rhys, when he first talks to her, like we have Feyre being called human multiple times. We have people call her a mortal, but Rhys is one of the first people who's like, what's a mortal doing here? And I feel like he's really, really lessening her. But so I guess my thing then is, I think I was always thinking human queens, because I've also been like, how did 6 human queens stop a Fae war? They have to have something. Do we agree? What do we think? Also, I want to hit the comments, but go ahead, and if you guys have thoughts.
Yeah, I guess I'm excited to get back to those parts, because I don't remember much revolving around them, and maybe we don't have that much information about them. Maybe we will get more. Because what if it's something along the lines of like, not just magic they were gifted, or what if, like you said, they all have to be together? What if it's like a token that they have to be holding on to, something like that? Because I don't think it's innately magic that they hold within themselves. Like they weren't born with it.
So human queens, is it like line of descent, or is it just they randomly go out in the countryside and find their buttercup and she becomes queen?
That's true. I don't know. I just assumed regular queen stuff. But how come there's 6 of them? Queens don't usually like to people don't usually like to share.
Maybe it's if you're human at this period of time and female and exhibit these abilities that.
It doesn't really talk about lands or armies or anything like that. It just says that they're queens. I read it that they were witches. In fact, I was calling them witches for a while, and everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, but sorry, they're mortals." Like,
I didn't even think about
some magic.
That's a good idea. Let me just run through the comments with you guys really quick. So Dasha's saying, I'm back a ways, but she's saying, as a therapist, I honestly admire how well SJM wrote trauma and its effect on different people, which we were kind of hitting on. Obviously, I think that's Very true. Oh, also Ari said that Tamlin and Feyre, this is a good point. Tamlin and Feyre both have trauma, and that doesn't always mesh well. And not to say that they don't mesh well, but I do think that, from my opinion, I agree. I think that people have to heal in their own time, and especially when you have people in any relationship who are healing, even if it's from the same thing, people heal differently. And I think that's always just important to recognize. Mal said that she has to work through it on her own. Let's see. Oh, Dasha said they're blue bloods, and I think she's talking about the sisters. Is that what you're talking about, Dasha?
The queens?
Oh, maybe the queens. Maybe she means the queens. She says, I think Tamlin wouldn't be able to maintain shape-shifting if there was a no magic zone. Oh, in the no magic zone. That's a good point.
Is that what your reference was for Erewhon? Because he technically had maintained a shape-shifted form. Wait, no, he didn't become Erewhon until after the towers were brought down. He didn't move into his...
He was in Duke Harrington's body.
Yeah, and so he would have been that little shriveled wormy thingy in Duke Harrington.
Rufus.
She's talking about the sisters.
Yeah, she was just comparing the shape-shifting to Tamlin's shape-shifting.
Dasha said she was talking about the sisters, is what she, in the comments. Humans.
Oh, the sisters are blue bloods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just reading Dasha's comment about Tamlin.
They're the most chill of the Iron Teeth.
Yeah, they are chill. And then let's see. Apollyon said something about dreams being from another realm, and he connects via dreams. So wait. Does anyone remember this? Apollyon says something about dreams being another realm, a dream realm, like a resting realm.
Yeah, when he talks to Hunt, he's in the dream realm.
Yeah, he's a shadow in the corner watching him get tortured, and then he kind of hits that point.
The shadow,
what does that sound like?
Bear's dreams.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, being mortal just means you can die.
Yeah, because I think they do mortal, immortal, and then eternal. So Valg, Daglin, Asteri would be eternal Fae, and Fae-esque creatures would be immortal.
Yeah, I think things that just restart all over again. Oh, Sarah had to leave, by the way. Bye, Sarah, if you're still in here. Thank you for coming. Oh, yeah, let's see. Does Moore tell Nesta witches are just people who take more than their own share of power? That, I don't know who says it, but that is true. And then when he chats with Bryce in Sky and Breath somewhere. Okay, I think we're caught up. Are we good? Caught up?
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? You guys can...
Yeah, the chat was popping off. We gotta keep in.
Do you have any theories you want to talk about, Candy, that you wanted to bring about the first part?
I did. Hang on 1 second because I forgot what it was. Oh, okay. So this is a very interesting thing on page 226, which is chapter 25. Can I go into chapter 25 or do I have to stop?
Yeah, no, you're good. Okay. You're good.
Okay, so remember later on in Under the Mountain when music is sent to her? Well, before that, because we talked about the foreshadowing, it says, this is when they're dancing and he's playing for her, and she says, music just for me, a gift. He played on, his fingers fast, hard upon the strings and the fiddle. My body slithered like a snake. I tipped my head back to the heavens and let Tamlin's music fill all of me, which is very similar to what happens later that Rhys takes credit for, but we don't know for a fact that it was Rhysand.
That's a good point.
But we have an example of Tamlin literally giving her music.
Doesn't she hear the music again, though, at the night court somewhere in Valaris?
She hears music again, and Rhysand's like, oh, yeah, that's what I did. I did that for you.
No, but like the same song, isn't it? She hears the same song being played at a cafe in Valaris. That's why that's solidified for me that Rhys did send it, but it could just be Rhys was watching.
Or in her head.
Yeah. It's like, oh,
she hears the song, goes, oh, I remember that song. Goes, oh, I remember that time.
Because that's one of my crack theories, is that Rhys has been intertwined in Feyre and the sisters' lives before this story started. I think he's been there since the beginning. So he could have been watching, and we do see, like, I feel like Candy brings it up all the time in her videos, like there are things that Tamlin did that later Rhys says he did or he will reenact so he can take credit, and it's almost like he's trying to get Feyre to forget that someone else did it for her. So I
can't wait to get there.
I know. I'm like, please be true that my crack theory that he knows that there's something about this family and that he set this whole thing up, or he knew.
I don't give him that much credit for being that smart. He's more of an opportunist than he is an actual planner. I mean, his war plans were terrible.
Well, I feel like it kind of feeds into Morgan's theory that this is like a cycle. Like we're seeing like the Persephone Hades cycle, and that maybe it's not necessarily Feyre but maybe it's her family line, because we do see these hints about something about her family line. Like people have brought this up. So maybe Feyre isn't the first person that's gone through this cycle, but Rhys has seen it with someone else, and he's like, okay, well, it's going to be someone from this bloodline, so I'm going to keep an eye on him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Which is kind of why I feel like he ends up doing the steps to the drop. He has all the requirements. She makes the drop. He makes this like immortal. This cycle doesn't really have to start over and over again because he just has the key to the cycle. Someone was talking about, I think it's Georgina was saying that their keys. I also was thinking, like Candy and I both kind of were thinking, is this, I think also LBD Sam was saying, like, is this the Valg origin story? Is this maybe Maeve? You know, all of those different ideas. But sort of knowing that Nesta becomes a Death Maiden, basically. I'm wondering, are the sisters being called to be used in that way, to be made to be Death Maidens, which is how you pull a key from the word gate and start this whole world walking process for people who aren't able to naturally be the brightest minds, bend the fabric of the world, and actually world walk. Were they sort of pulled for that reason?
I like the idea that the cauldron is fighting back against the taint and has been waiting for a very specific type of being to walk the earth again, to like, those are my tools right there. That's exactly what I need. Kind of like waiting for Thea's power to move down the line to finally hit someone who has enough of it to be able to pull them all together again. Oh my God, gotta work.
You mean like the good part? Oh, that's okay. You mean like the good part of the cauldron?
Yeah. So like the part that still exists, the part that spoke to Nesta after she gave back the power that she stole. Like the part that was like, you know, I'm gonna give you can keep some. Like that is the word creation power. I think that was it. Kind of, maybe the taint was mad at Nesta for stealing all that extra power, and maybe something else of the cauldron was taken with it. So when she gave it all back, the good side of the cauldron, kind of like, is it Mala at the end of Throne of Glass, where she's like, here you go, here's my little kernel of first light for you to bolster up the water. Mm-hmm. Like, kind of that's the same thing happening with there, but it's the cauldron giving it to her instead.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that the cauldron set all of this in motion, set the players.
That's a good idea. I also think, like, when they're talking about the shadow over Prythian, after reading Crescent City, I sort of went more macro. I think that the shadow over Prythian is the broken cauldron. If we know that the cauldron is the kill switch, we know that like the first core light was the kill switch in Crescent City. And when the first core whatever was shot with the bullet thing, it started creating a black hole. It started sucking everything in on itself. And if we know that the cauldron is the kill switch of Prythian, it's missing 3 feet. It's cleaved. It is effectively dismembered. And I think that is like the seeping, the blight, whatever is like seeping. I don't think it's maybe responsible for everything. I do think there's Valg touches in there. But I really was under the impression when I first read the CC stuff that the cauldron is just damaged, and if it's the kill switch, it's affecting the world. I don't know if I'm the only one. I
had a thought as we were talking about leading back to like Rhys creating, you know, the drop and whatever with Feyre. All the other, so like the other series, it's like the women are in power, right? And so now we're in this really patriarchal world. Maybe he knows that like the High Lords don't have, like, the power has to come from a woman, because we've got the mother and all of these like women gods who have passed their power, the starlight power down, have come from women. So it's like maybe that is what he's trying to control, the powerful women, to make himself whatever, or whoever can control them, these powerful women will have the highest amount of power. And it just so happens to be he's reeling them in. I was just like a little thought that I had. I was like, okay, it can't.
The Illyrians kind of could be shadowing that, because I think the Illyrian women are the most powerful. They are witches, and those siphons are siphoning the power from the women.
Yeah, and like subduing them, obviously, with the wing clipping. And Di has talked a bunch about how the Illyrians males, I think maybe just the males, but maybe all Illyrians are like the counterpart to the TOG witches, which I thought was really interesting. I wanted to hit the comments really quick, you guys. Sorry, let me back up a little bit. Let's see. So Di says, I suspect that, I think she envisioned the dust court and that it was heavenly. The music, emotionally, it feels like Tamlin. Strategically, it feels like Rhys, which I think is a little good point out. Rhys actively tries to keep her alive under the mountain. I don't know what that's in connection with. Di says Valaris is dust court, though. And I'm sorry. Dasha says that Valaris is dust court, and Di says, I'm not sure if it was back then. I don't think so either. I think that back then they weren't delineated into those courts.
There used to be a dust court that got obliterated.
I didn't think
that's why the House of Wind is for only winged people.
So, but it was dusk from how I read. Does it say that specific? Because when I read from the Vesper's perspective, she was the evening star. She put the magic in and out of the land, but it wasn't delineated into courts until when Selene comes back. And even then, it wasn't like night court. When she marries off to a lord of night, it's the lord of night, not the night court. Not until 1,000 years later or something. So I didn't think that it actually had a place. I think that it like should fit there, but I didn't think that it was like called dust court ever. But I might be wrong. That's just what I thought. I would like to be.
That's the way I read it, but you're right. I don't think it actually. I think it's vague like that. You could interpret it either way.
Yeah, I definitely think it should be called dusk, but I just don't know if it ever was.
Well, the Illyrians were definitely the House of Wind, because the Night Court doesn't have wings. Rhysand just has wings. Actually, Rhysand didn't even have wings. He had to make his own wings.
So when you say House of Wind, can you elaborate on your connection there?
So in the House of Wind, the only way you can get in the House of Wind is to fly into it. You can't even winnow into it. Or you can walk up 10,000 steps. Mm-hmm. So that was absolutely made for a winged people.
Yeah.
From the get-go.
Why can't you winnow into it? Which is so weird.
Rhysand says, don't ask me why. But he never says, I don't know why. He just says, don't ask me why.
Don't ask.
Yeah. And of course, why would Farah ask? Because that's not who she is. And the prison is where the dust court would be too. Yeah.
Kat says, in the scene where Nesta saves Farah, Cassian's siphons light up. So they do activate with outside power. Wait, are you connecting? Sorry, I get so when we're deep in the comments. I forgot what we were talking about. Sorry, Kat, remind me what we were talking about. I think I just might have. Maybe she's not talking to me. Or us. I don't know.
So no winnowing near the gates of hell either. That's interesting. I do think hell is in the night court.
Oh, yeah, I think it's under. I think. Well, yeah, I think hell is
under that. It's under that mountain they don't ever look in.
Oh yeah. Well, I think it's like the underneath Helheim. I think it's just or like Dasha has said, maybe the shadow world. I think it's just the reverse of Prithian.
Upside down.
Yeah. Or I think because I think that the God's realm, Prithian is like the God's realm, sky, earth, and the underworld. I think that when Aelin sends them back, they go to Prithian. And when she opens the hellscape, she just opens it to hell, which is, we know that there's a hellscape from the carvings. It says the hellscape goes under the entirety of Prithian. And so I think she just opens the hellscape from beneath them, and maybe do they come in and infest everybody there? Did the Valg come in, and that's when they have their little showdown in Prithian? Ari says it's hard to convey. I know, it's so hard to type in the comments. We were talking about this. You feel like you're trying to run your comment before someone else comments. Is the prison an island near permanent twilight? Yes. Or the witches with brooms. Sorry, I'm just trying to read. Wards prevent winnowing.
The island thing, are we getting that from Crescent City? Because I don't.
What part?
The dusk, like the island, like
No, the prison is an island.
Mm-hmm.
The prison is an island. Okay.
Yeah, because when they go in the caves and they go through the caves and then they're like, how are we under here? And it shouldn't have taken us this short of time to get here. And she's like, because they have to travel underwater technically. But isn't that crazy that the tunnel systems jump you through the land and they're called doors and they're called portals? And there's the doors in the Asteria archives called night, day, midday, and midnight, which is all for the solar courts in Prithian.
Yeah, it's like that's why I'm like, this has to be the start. This is where they're learning how to utilize these things. And if you go back to Maeve, she says that she, studied the old ways. She studied these, like they were there for the taking. Like no one was hiding them. Like she just decided to learn how to use it. And it's like, kind of feeds into your theory, like, is Pharaoh Maeve or is someone Maeve?
He had access to a lot of books.
Yes.
And she knew that they were outlawed. The same way that Nehemia says word marks are not allowed to be used anymore. They're outlawed methods and techniques. And I wonder, because like the techniques that she uses are the word. I think that she's using the techniques which are the word marks. And I think that's what's outlawed because that's what Nehemia says is outlawed. But that's not how the Asteri world walk. Like the Asteri learned how to, you know what I mean? It's not like they don't talk about word marks as how they travel. Unless I'm mistaken, I don't think that they ever explicitly say that. They just kind of, that's like the whole bending of the world. So I just wonder, I don't know. I just think Maeve's whole thing keeps me up at night.
I can make a very valid argument that Farah is Maeve. Now but I can't prove it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it could go either way, but it is fun to prove it.
Yeah.
Like, or to know, this is why I think this.
I agree. And I think we could also make an argument that she is Reese's sister. I think there's a valid argument there.
Oh, Maeve. Well. Okay. I was like, Farah, what?
Oh, no. God.
I think Lauren is Rhysand's sister. I don't know. There's part of me that really wants Rhysand's sister to be dead because I think that's such a tragic story because I believe that her and Tamlin had a thing. But also Lauren being Rhysand's sister, also interesting.
Yeah, I think
that's too much like Rhysand to not be related.
Rune's mom, correct?
Yeah.
I do. I love that theory. Well, it is so stupid because I'm like, I love that theory. And then I love the theory that Favors Maeve. And I'm like, all of these things cannot be the same, but I love all of them.
I love them all. I wanted to answer Di really quick. She says, how did they world walk? Erewhon says something about how the Death Maidens do it. So the Death Maidens, when he's talking to Irene and she's using her power, he says that he equates Irene's power to all of the Death Maidens in the entirety of the Valgrind. It took every single Death Maiden in the entire Valgrind to pull 3 word keys from the gate. And he says that her power is enough to match all of them. So that's the only way. And it says after them, they destroy the keys that now they've lost the ability to world walk. So, and also we're remembering that the Valg didn't world walk to conquer. They conquered their own lands, they sent their offspring out to have like dominion over their land, over their world. And they only world walked to find Maeve. And if they didn't find her, I have a puzzle. Hold on. If they didn't.
The puzzle piece.
Oh, it's making me do it again. I messed up. Okay. And if they didn't find Maeve, they destroyed the planet. So I think that kind of tells us that if they stopped in Prithian, there's a reason, I feel like it makes more sense that it's just the Valgrind or it becomes the Valgrind. But they don't just leave a place left and like, we left our mark there, they destroy it. So 3 keys.
Well, I think the High Lords are the beasts of the hunt. Because when you read about the beasts of the hunt, in Throne of Glass, they sound a lot like the High Lords, beast form.
Ooh, when was that? What part? I don't remember them.
I don't remember which book. I'm doing the reread now, so I don't remember. I'm not gonna annotate it, but I have more reference to it. But yeah, in Throne of Glass, they talk about the beasts of the hunt in the past.
Which is interesting because that sounds like the Wild Hunt, the Daglin. That sounds, which I think
the Wild Hunt. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, they're the beasts. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay, and also, you were saying earlier, I was worried about the comments, but I also think that I think that there's like elements that kind of go back and forth between Throne of Glass and Prythian timeline wise, but I do think it makes more sense to have like 7 courts of power, whether or not some of them are undefined. I think it makes more sense that when we have Throne of Glass, just like a cesspool of magic, just all different kinds of stuff. It makes sense to come from a more categorized starting point.
Right, where there's demi-fae. There's no demi-fae in ACOTAR.
Yes, which the Ages of Man is so fun. The demi-fae are just a delineation of like the high god, the higher fae breeding with like oh my gosh, it's so fun. I love that. I love that stuff, Candy. SJM was supposed to give us an encyclopedia to TOG, and I'm salty now. Ooh, I did hear about that.
She's probably waiting. I think her and Bloomsbury I think she's done with Bloomsbury. I think that's what's going on.
I agree. I think she's
hunting for a new publisher. I think Crescent City, because that last Flame and Shadow is a weird book. And I think the publisher got involved in that and made her combine 2 books, and it blew their whole relationship apart.
Well, she said that she had to rewrite it in like 6 weeks, the whole thing. I would be pretty peeved off too.
Yeah, because there's 2 separate books. That whole story,
I loved
story in the story. Like, I don't mind a little bit of exposition, but don't have another character tell me a story. I really, especially one that's several chapters long.
Can you comment on that? Because I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you would like to comment, I'm going to invite.
In Flame and Shadow, the last book, Celine tells us a story. I don't know how much I should spoil, so I'm trying to be vague.
You can go ahead. We're on spoiler for everything.
Yeah. All right, this is a crazy spoiler. So she goes on to tell us about how the worlds were created, what happened, that whole long diatribe she goes on, that whole story. Sorry, I got distracted by a comment. That whole story that she tells, I think that's a separate book. I think that was a whole other book. I think that might have been a Twilight of the Gods book.
Like a novella?
Yeah. And they made her put it in that last book. Because that last book, you're sort of like, what? Wow. Like, I think these 2 books were supposed to come out, then a Twilight of the God book, and then the Crescent City book. And that would have made a lot more sense. And not been such a, like, this is a lot of information. I've read it twice now and still can't quite keep it in my memory. Because there's so much there.
I agree. I feel like you either focus on the rest of the book or you focus on that part about that's like the part that I'm everything else I'm like I don't even I don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
And I don't trust Celine as much as I can throw
lore dump. Exactly. Yeah, it's just right there. All of a sudden, when a character comes in and tells you a story like that, that's a crime in the literary world. I mean, people do it because sometimes you have to. She had to do it, but it feels forced.
Yeah, and it's almost I trust that story less than I trust Reese's story, because at least we can figure out from Jurian, like, Jurian, you're on the chopping block next book. If you don't tell me what happened, I'm gonna have a freaking conniption fit. But Celine has no one to back up her story, so she just came here and we are just trusting. Well, what else we don't have anything else. But I agree, I love a lore dump too, Dasha.
I think it was supposed to be another book. I truly believe that, and I think that caused a big rift with her and Bloomsbury. And I think that's what's causing the delay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dasha asked you a question, Candy. I'm not sure if you wanted to say any more, but is she even able to detach from Bloomsbury at this time?
Yes and no. She is contracted to do one more book. Is it 2 books and a novella?
I thought it was.
But another publisher could buy out her contract.
Ooh. Yeah, I feel like she's just arguing with.
Or there's a time limit on it and she's waiting them out. That also happens. So.
True.
I saw a post today. It's been 173 days since she said her draft was done. Something people are counting.
I told everybody, I'm like, we're not hearing anything for a long time. It's like.
That's okay. That's okay, Tasha. Take your time. No worries, Megan. I just wanted to invite you. What was I was gonna comment on something. Okay, I can't remember.
If we're at a good little intermission, I do kind of want to talk about our quick little announcement, if we don't mind. So part of it didn't arrive, so I'm sad, but I'm going to show you guys what we have anyway. So we're going to be doing a giveaway. And it's not sponsored by TikTok at all. Just a little disclaimer. This is purely from us. It is going to be over on our Yap and Recap page. So I'll comment here. So you'll want to follow our Yap and Recap page because that's where we're going to post it. You'll have to follow that. So let me just show you the stuff that we got because they're absolutely stunning and beautiful. So this is a big ACOTAR giveaway.
So
the
cute.
first thing I want to show you.
Look at her. Look at her space. She just got finished over there. So cute.
So we have this gorgeous rebind of the first book.
Wish I could.
It's a hardback.
I wonder if I can make you bigger. I don't want to mess up, but let's see.
It's okay. So the back says, "Be happy of your human heart, Feyre." And then the front. So this is done by Firebound Books, Nina. If you guys have seen me post about her, I absolutely love her. And
Isn't be happy about your human heart? Isn't that Rhys-Ann who says that?
I think it's this the surreal.
I thought it was, yeah, I thought
it's the surreal when the surreal's dying in Silver Flames, right before he dies. I think that's one of the last things he says.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then there's like these metal. I mean, it's just like a stunning copy.
Beautiful.
Yeah, she did absolutely amazing. So this
the gold book edges, the little edges, doesn't it?
What?
The gold edges, and I think they're so pretty. Or maybe not gold, maybe not 14 karat gold, but
I mean, these are metal, which I think is so cool. And then we have another, so that was from Firebound Books. Then we also have Down the Bond, which is another license. They're new. It's a boyfriend, girlfriend. So I was actually drinking out of, don't worry, it's not this mug. I have a separate mug that's part of the giveaway. But it's this exact mug, and it says, "A Court of Fantasy Baddies and Morally Gray MMCs," which is just so cute. And then I couldn't resist because I was like, you know, in the first book, I love the surreal. And so they have a print of him being
I love that.
snared. And then the quote down here says, "Do not forget what I told you. Stay with the High Lord and live to see everything righted." And her boyfriend actually hand paints and makes all of these. So it's all original art. So we will post all of that over on Yap and Recap, along with how to enter and what you need to do, share it with friends and things like that. But I just wanted to show while we had everyone here, just to like officially show everyone these like.
The book is beautiful.
And I wanted to add the surreal I'm looking must say something similar, but they are right. It does. Rhys-Ann does say this under the mountain. I think maybe when she's being made. So I just wanted to say that they were right, but I think the surreal says something similar. Anyway,
yeah. I have it right here. I looked it up. It's on page 414.
My Kindle.
Rhys stared at me for a long time. Be glad of your human heart, Feyre. Pity those who don't feel anything at all.
Yes.
So it is in the first book. So it's in the correct book.
He must say something similar. He must, because I know a couple of us were like surreal, but I love that. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. That is
it's
gorgeous.
so stunning. She hadn't done this design yet, and she sent it to me, and I was like, and now it like looks so perfect on my shelf. I'm like, well, now I have to order one for myself. Yeah. Like we can't. Yeah. I got to give this one away. Like,
and don't drink out of our cup.
I won't. Here's the clean one.
It's so cute. So we'll have that posted, and we have it's not going to be too much stuff, but you'll have opportunity for extra entries, but it's just like a like, comment, save situation, and then follow the associated pages, which we'll put in the caption. Again, not associated with TikTok.
Yes. And this will all be on TikTok, and we may have some opportunities over on the other socials later, but this one's just for right here.
Yay! So, and we're going to announce, we're going to post that today or tomorrow, and then that's going to run for a week. We're going to announce the winner on our live next Thursday, which we do every Thursday, 8 Central, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And they don't have to be present for the live. Did we say they don't? No. So we'll just announce, but we will announce it at the live, and then we'll post after.
Yes. And I hate to say this, but it will probably be only winners within the US. I don't know what it would be like to ship internationally, especially since it's a big package. So I'm very sorry if you are not in the US for this. We will look into doing something for you guys another time, but we love you guys participating and being here.
You can come visit us and pick it up.
Yeah. Just come here. It's fine. Like, I know this is so off topic, but I'm like, I want to do a book besties like meetup. We get like a cabin somewhere beautiful and we just all hang out and read and talk theories and just like meet each other in real life.
And have a bonfire, and we need to hire a fiddler because I would
calamite kind of thing.
Yes, I want to have a calamite.
There was one I got invited to. I just couldn't go. Where they do a whole camp out and there's a whole thing, and it seemed really cool.
Oh my God.
It was in Utah. And I'm like, I think it was like Utah or Colorado. I'm like, I don't have time to do that.
See, I'm not a camper. I'm a glamper, so I need a cabin or something. But
I'm not a camper either.
I do not do bugs. Me and bugs do not mix together.
Yeah, I need electricity and running water, but
yeah, for sure. I have a fun quote we could talk about.
Yeah.
From ACOTAR, from chapter 21, Calamai. Speaking of Calamai.
Okay. Let me get there. Go ahead. Are you on a specific page? Sorry.
What's that?
What page are you on?
193.
Okay, go ahead.
And Lucian is explaining a little bit about Calamai, and he says about giving power back to the land. He says, we do this by conducting the great rite. Each of the 7 high lords of Prythian performs this every year. Since their magic comes from the earth and returns to its end, it's give and take. We never see a great rite from anybody else. We don't know what their great rite looks like. It doesn't necessarily have to be a fertility ceremony, which is what spring is about. Mm-hmm. But I'm curious why we haven't seen Rhysand's.
Yeah, we talked about this too in our thing, and yeah, we don't see that in after they're out from under the mountain, obviously. And we were kind of saying, what were they doing the entire time? Obviously, sort of, they say, like, we know later when they don't do the summer solstice, they do it in spring court because the other high lords are under the mountain. So is he having to like double do the great rite, the give and take of magic while everyone's under the mountain? Is he having to sort of do that for everyone? And also when they're out, like you said, we don't see.
Well, the only ones that are under there are very few prisoners under the mountain. Rhysand was never a prisoner. The prisoners are Helion. Helion is a prisoner, I think. Although he kind of sided with Amarantha because he's such a slippery little dude. I'm not sure. But Winter Court, absolutely. These are the rebellion courts. And it was winter, day, and summer. And Tarquin was under the mountain. Remember, he tried to escape, and that's why Rhysand killed his associate. They're the only prisoners until Tamlin becomes a prisoner.
Oh, yeah. I guess I was thinking
so he would have to do. So he could have been doing the summer court stuff because Tarquin was imprisoned.
Yes.
Interesting.
As far as like the spring great rite, and I think what Kat says, it's the blood rite, because the blood rite is in April, so that's kind of around the springy.
Okay.
But
we don't know, like.
But I wonder if
I don't think they have to do it on the first day of spring, like spring would have to do.
Yeah, and I wonder if even those high lords that are under the mountain, even though their courts are like everyone from their court is not under the mountain, I think they would still need to be present to put their magic back in the land. So how was that operating for the 49 years that they were trapped under the mountain? And Cheryl's sort of, she's sleeping, it's 4 a.m. in Sydney where she is right now, but she was sort of saying later she thinks when Tamlin doesn't perform the great rite and Lucian does in her place, does he sort of absorb the High Lord powers in that case? And that's kind of when he stands 10 toes down against Rhysand. So I guess my question then is, like, if the High Lords aren't there, can it still be done? And if they're not there, what does that mean for their magic? That might be too much to think about, but it's interesting.
I just want to point out what Bella said in the comments, because I was going to say the same thing, that Feyre and Rhys do get together on Calamine in Akamath. And so it's not necessarily said that it's a great rite, but could he have just been like, it's Calamai, and isn't that like the chapter
That's
54?
so Calamai is all about fertility. It's a fertility ceremony.
no.
So he's doing her on Calamai, not as a great right, but he wants that baby.
And that's what Di said, that they're painted, that they're being painted in the same way that Tamlin is painted on Calamai.
So it's not necessarily said that it is a great right, but I wonder if Reese knows. He's like, what? You know what I mean? And she's completely unaware because she's in the dick sand, and she's like, you know, like she is wrapped up.
I don't think it's. I think the blood right would be more their great right. You know, the Night Court's all about death, so that's just the symbolism of night.
But I know, but they do partake on those other. Or it was explained that
they all go and have.
They all go. So it's like, well, maybe that's his little.
Okay, I have a crack theory really quick. Okay, so they have their schmexy time. Okay, I don't know what I can say on here. Are they? We talked about this in our lives too. Hunt recharges via Bryce, and he has her magic. That's the only way he's able to use the mask, which that's a whole other thing we want to talk about. But is Rhysand performing the Great Rite, charging up with her magic? The painting scene is obviously similar to the Calamai painting scene. And let's not remember, I'm making a video about this today, hopefully, the lodestone. Remember we were talking about the song was a lodestone, which is, it's a magnetite. It's a type of an iron ore, which is just like a mineral or a metal. And basically it's where magnets come from. And so I'm wondering if when she says like the song was a lodestone and it was like calling her, the iron, the cauldron is made of blackest iron. So was the cauldron calling Feyre sort of similar to this like rite that they're doing, this transfer of magic? And is that what happens when they sort of mimic Calamai? Is she transferring the magic with Rhysand in the cabin? I feel like that's kind of the same thing. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Sorry, brain fart. I think there's a lot going on that is just not being outwardly explained. So we're left to be putting all of these like clues together from the little tidbits of information that we're getting.
Yeah, I think the cauldron's pulling her in. I think
Mm-hmm.
the magic of the land was calling her in.
Mm-hmm.
Like a siren.
Yeah, and I feel like that's just kind of similar to the. I'm hoping that we're going to see a switch from like with the land calling them and the cauldron and stuff, like bye-bye high lords. It's gonna be high ladies. Like the land and the cauldron are calling for the women, and there's got to be a rise up, right? Like.
Just as an aside, Ianthe was very against the High Lord system. She wanted to overthrow the High Lords.
Ooh, don't like her.
Right? Everybody thinks she's totally awful. She doesn't come awful until Feyre messes up her mind. She's actually pretty decent for the first 15 chapters. One of the things she wanted to do, she was very against the High Lord system.
I do think that whole scene where with what Feyre does to her, that made me sick. Like that was too far for me. Like for Feyre, I was like, ooh, no, sis. Like that was not
what.
Like when she like tortured her.
Yeah, she tortured her. Well, it's funny because Ianthe is there to teach her how to be High Lady of the Spring Court. That's why Ianthe is there, and Feyre really relies on her like really heavily. And Ianthe is really good to her, like really good to her. In fact, when Ianthe talks about Lucien, she talks about Lucien like she's in high school. She's like, "Do you think he likes me? I like him so much." Like that's how she's talking about him. Then Rhysand plants these seeds with Feyre, and then Ianthe loses her mind, and Tamlin even says, "You corrupted the mind of my priestess," to Feyre.
Mm-hmm. Did she Daemati her? What did she? Okay,
she did, but by accident.
I couldn't remember. Yeah.
Clotho having the same.
And Clotho has the same injury. Yeah.
Yes. That's what it made me think of that, and I was like, that was like way too far and messed up, and especially like that's when I feel like you're starting to see Feyre becoming who she was against in this book. Everything that she was against once she makes that switch over into Night Court Valaris, that Feyre, she's becoming everything that she
hates. Yeah.
hated. And I hate it.
I don't know when does she
Nesta about appearances, like, oh, we are
in the woods when she sends her, doesn't she send her into like the Weaver's cabin or whatever?
I was cheering that on. I personally, I do not like Ianthe. I think that she's like more to me. I don't trust more. I don't trust Ianthe. I think Ianthe had her own vendetta. I think that I don't exactly remember. So I'm sure that Candy.
Well, you do your reread.
Well, yeah.
But I knowing that Tamlin is always right, and Tamlin said that Feyre messed up Ianthe's mind, and you will see a moment when it happens.
Oh, and I'm not denying that that's the case, but I do think that her chasing after and killing the Surreal, she's also a bad person. She's also bad.
Yeah, that's after. That's after Feyre messed up.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm going with is like tit for tat. If we just have killed the Surreal, got yours in the Weaver's cottage, that's equal.
But to me, it wasn't just that. She broke all of her fingers and tortured her and made her to where she couldn't heal herself. And like that
wasn't that though after Dagden and Brannig were chasing her and after she found out that she was killing the children of the blessed?
I don't know.
He was
luring. She didn't kill the children of the blessed.
He was luring the children of the blessed in, who ended up being killed by Dagden and Brannig. I was pretty sure. I do need to reread.
She kidnapped Lucian.
Oh,
I don't think
her kidnapping of Lucian just makes no sense at all. You're just sort of like, what are you doing? Like, she makes a lot of sense, and all of a sudden she just stops making sense. She does all this crazy stuff.
I just and that's why I'm excited to do my reread, because it has been like this was the first one of all the Maasverse that I read, so it's been so long that like I don't remember all of those details. But I just remember in that moment thinking like the punishment for the crime didn't feel equal to me, and just the way that Feyre went about it was out of character for Feyre at that time. Like it was becoming out of character. It becomes her character.
I do agree,
but it was becoming out of her character, and I was like,
I agree.
What is happening?
I think she does become, I agree with that heavily. I agree she becomes what she didn't want to be. And I think it's more so from a lack of me not remembering some of the things, but can you help me remember, because from my loose recollection, there's the Brannig and Dagden situation. Am I saying that right? Brannig, I think so. And then after they're trying to corner Lucian and Feyre, this is when like her and Lucian kill them, unalive them both. Doesn't Ianthe come after then? And that sort of puts the situation together, because even Lucian was there and it's like they're defending themselves from how I was picturing it. But I haven't read that part again. So
I can't remember. I'm gonna have to go back there.
She tries to kidnap Lucian. She actually has Lucian in those
is it
chains.
Is it right after the Brannig though scene? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
And were they also caught twin ravens, or was that only the ravens that were at the bottom of the library? Are they the same?
I'm not there yet.
Oh, okay. I think they might.
Dasha pointed out that the parallels between Ianthe and the priestess from the library, the like head priestess, and that's what I kept thinking, because like her fingers are mangled. Isn't her tongue cut out?
She can't talk, right? She has to only write.
Yeah. And did she do that to Ianthe, or no? Maybe not. But I did think I was like,
she did smashed her hand and then wouldn't let her heal it.
Yeah, I was like, there are a lot of Clotho. There's a lot of parallels between them, and it makes me think like, okay, again, are we seeing some kind of time travel loop? And had Feyre met, had Feyre met Clotho and seen that and then did it to Ianthe, or is this something that she later uses as punishment for just in general?
Well, I'm wondering, it's interesting because we know that Rhysand has completely corrupted Feyre by this point. So maybe Rhysand did that to Clotho and then she mimicked the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Clotho is one of the three fates. And obviously chthonic anything is underworld related, and they're in the library. So it could be even a case of like she never leaves. So I also wonder sometimes when people die and they sort of have this like, not reanimation, not like a reincarnation, but is she now in this, is this Ianthe's not death and then reincarnation, but is she sort of living this hell realm underneath in the library? Because a lot of people, equate it to being a part of hell. So
Yeah.
I believe we're obviously supposed to see this parallel. Oh yeah, Pharaoh saw Clotho's hands and then did the same.
Okay, so she had, yeah, I'm just
Oh,
pulling
she
up.
saw her hands first. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I was wondering.
Mimicking.
Yeah,
it.
Kat would know. She's doing the reread now, so
That's
she's the resident expert.
Yeah, Dasha.
Okay.
That's what I was wondering. I wondered if she had seen it first and then was like, "Oh, that seems like a good," which is messed up because Clotho, as a reminder, she was injured badly by a group of males. Males did this to her. They cut her tongue out. They broke her hands. They wouldn't let her heal, and she was brought to the library as a safe haven, right? Like this is supposed to be a safe haven from behaviors and people like this. And now Feyre's going to turn around and do the same thing to another woman. At that.
I agree.
Like,
I think they've resolved it.
They
don't meet Clotho until Silver
My
Flames.
resand theory stands.
They don't meet Clotho until Silver Flames when Nesta's in the library. But yeah, that is a good point. That is a very good point.
Like that is just gross behavior.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I wonder if that isn't some sort of priestess punishment though, because we see two do it.
But and I don't remember.
Or a high priestess punishment.
I don't know if we got. Yeah, but they weren't punishing her for being a priestess. The men, like Clotho.
The men might have been punishing her. We don't know the men's motivation. I'm not saying that they were right. I'm just saying that they might have seen it as a ritualistic punishment to do what they did to Clotho.
And maybe we don't know if she was a priestess before that. She might have become a priestess after the fact.
Okay.
The library. You know what I mean? Like, so it could have just been she was attacked as a female. Yeah. Or maybe it does say, and I just don't.
Well, they do raid a lot of the priestesses' places. That's sort of.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because I think that priestesses might be necessary to control the cauldron, the same way that only a being not of this world can use the Book of Breathings, which is why Amarin can use it. But the same can be said for the cauldron, because in the account of Gwydion being made, one is that Fionn made it and one is that priestess Oleana made it. However, the account where Fionn made it is in the history book, which is not going to show Thea. And if you look at the name Oleana, it basically means Thea. And so I wonder then if you have to have a priestess who is connected to the land's magic to operate and sort of make this happen via the cauldron, which maybe is why it went sour when they put Nesta and Elaine in, because Ianthe was there, but it wasn't her hands in it pushing her in. And also then does that signify why manipulating their hands becomes like the priestess punishment, like you were saying?
Kat and Dasha are talking about it in the comments that they think Rhys is harvesting priestesses' power somehow, that Rhys is collecting priestesses, and they even though library is supposed to be like a safe haven, they are very much prisoners. I mean, they don't have like windows, and they've been told like whenever you want to leave, you can leave.
That's man's choice. You can leave. We're not going to give you anything to heal and make you feel safe, but yeah, I mean, you can walk out the door in the mountains, in the snowy mountains.
And this is the House of Wind, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't this? So it's like, yeah, all right, walk down 10,000 steps or jump. Like,
is it like 10,000 steps House of Wind ground library, or is the library in the bottom half of the tower? Because I pictured it underground.
Steps, and then. I don't think you go down all the steps, but there are steps you have to go down to get to the library.
Okay. Yeah, it's like
it's in the tower.
Yeah, it's I think it's a different part. Like I think the steps where you get out of the House of Wind is outside, and this is inside. You're just tunneling down.
That's what I don't know if it's described, but I always picture the library because it seems like it goes like this downward. So.
I think they can leave.
Because if you wanted to leave the library, you have to go up, back through the library, then go to wherever the stairs are, and then go down.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. That to get out into the snow.
Yeah, go ahead.
He said that he would assist Farah in getting revenge, and he knew what Rhys was, what had happened to Clotho. So that was Rhysand telling her to smash the hand like that. I fully believe that.
Oh yeah. I'm sure there was a
Yeah.
hand in there. I just
Rhys was very threatened by Ianthe, and that's why he destroyed her. But he destroyed her through Farah, and you could see it.
Mhm.
Can you tell me
You can
just
see
one
it,
thing?
you
One
see
thing
it
that,
happen.
the thing that bothered me so much that she did, and tell me if this was before or after your thought that she has been demodied, because I don't remember when that is. I need to reread. But when she was like, I don't want red, and Ianthe put those freaking red roses, that made
She
me,
didn't
I
put
was
red
like,
roses.
boo,
She didn't put red
boo.
roses.
Okay, because
Mm-mm.
that
That's
pissed
not
me
what
off.
happened.
That
Now,
was
let
the
me tell you
first
what
time I
happened,
was
because
like,
this is so
ew.
misrepresented all
Please
the time.
tell us, because that pissed me off,
Yeah.
honestly.
All right. Everything is white. Just, the only thing Farah said is no red. So everything is white and cream and stuff like that.
Which is very spring.
There is a path. There's a path of
She said she didn't want red.
white petals. And
Go
she
ahead.
never told anybody she didn't like red. That's true too. There's a path of white petals she's walking down. In a certain section, right by the altar, there are a few red petals. Just a couple, like drops of blood. As if somebody might have planted them there. That's it. That's all there are. Just a few red petals.
Which could be our shadow
I think Sam's
daddy.
at the spring court. I think he's been at the spring court this whole time.
Well, of course he is, because he shows up right when she's like, take
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, and the day she's like, the day she doesn't want to do anything, and then the day he's under attack, they're like, I gotta go to war with you. Like,
This also makes me think, like, if he's already in her mind somehow, what if he just is making her see the red petals? They might not even actually be there.
well, in literature, red can often represent a paranormal experience. So I think when he's around her and present, I think the red really bothers her. I think that's us. We're supposed to know that, like, oh, that's
Yeah.
Rhys being there, being present actively in her life.
And we
But
forced
then when she goes to the night court and there's red everywhere in that house, she's not bothered by it.
Oh, on the first night, okay, she gets she gets kidnapped. I think we sandlocked her in the little shadow bubble when she has the panic attack. She goes to the House of Wind, goes to Valaris, has dinner at the House of Wind, either that night or the very next night. Amryn drinks blood in front of her.
Yeah.
Like,
Kat just said that.
That's
No.
so funny.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
think it's still, and just to say, so I have the quote here. She does say she doesn't want red. This is Mist and Fury. Obviously, this is 17 on the Kindle, so I'm not sure where it is. But it says, when I didn't respond to her gentle reprimand, she said, have you given any thought to what color to use? What color roses? White, pink, yellow, red. And she gets cut off, and Feyre says, not red. So she does say not red, just because we were kind of talking about it in the chat. But I do think that she could have a temporary time where she's like, I don't want red right now because I just stabbed you in the chest and we had all this blood. And I think, yes, she's still, it's everywhere later and she's fine with it. But I do think that at some point she didn't want it. But I do want to see what she says
oh no,
about
at the wedding, then Moore shows up in a red dress. She's fine.
Yeah, and then she's fine. So I think she maybe heals.
Yeah, I mean, at the wedding, she's flipping out over the petals. Moore
Well, she
shows
does-
up. She's fine.
Doesn't it say that Moore didn't wear red the first time they met, specifically for that reason? She wears red later, but she didn't wear red the first time they met.
Someone said she turned up wearing blue.
I think that I saw that, but I'm not exactly sure.
I can't remember.
If anyone knows when they first meet, or if anyone like around what chapter, I can search it. But
Yeah, Di's talking about the red carpets, Moore's dress, Amryn drinking blood. Like, there's so much red around her, and that's why it's almost like, I mean, I know that the red thing is from like a PTSD thing, but it's also like, is someone also in her mind putting into like some extra panic around just the sprinkle of red, and then all of a
I
sudden
think
it's
it's a
gone.
paranormal experience because that's a very, very common theme in literature.
Bad plastic.
and it would make
Well, not
sense.
paranormal, but that Reese is in her head.
It would make sense for if Reese is trying to, especially if it's like a court of thorns and roses. This is a spring court. He has his mother and father's rose bush. Like, it's almost specifically the opposite of Tamlin to enforce this no red policy, especially when she, I mean, again, I'm not taking away from trauma. I
her dress was
definitely acknowledge
turquoise.
trauma. Oh, okay. I
Sorry, I
definitely
didn't mean to
want
interrupt.
to, oh no, you're okay. So it was turquoise the first time. You said Moore's dress.
Mhm.
And I think I just am someone who always wants to acknowledge trauma, but I do think that there's absolutely truth to what you're saying. And especially because we know that Feyre, one, painted with only primary colors. She always notices red. She has a different color, red, crimson, ruby. Red. She specifically can like detail red. So I think she probably falls back into her love for it. But I think could be a mixture of two things. That Reese is like anti-Tamlin in her head, and also there is trauma that is. Amaranth is the
I
Red
would agree with
Queen.
that, except that it goes away as soon as she's with Rhysand. Like, it just disappears completely.
Yeah, I think maybe it's sort of like Hades' mindset is, and someone, I think Dasha knows this quote, but as soon as she gets to the Night Court, she drinks tea, which part of the story of Perseus, I always say that, Persephone and Hades, is that he gives her a drink that makes her worries go away. So maybe there is still a concern with her trauma, but maybe she's sort of falling into this Hades underworld mentality.
Oh, he does drug her. She's drugged the first time she's with the first couple when she wakes up with Rhysand. She's being drugged by that tea. Yeah.
And the story is that Hades gives Persephone a drink and she forgets all of her worries. So I think that could maybe explain why she's maybe not, she says, no PTSD, I'm good here. And she feels like safe, but it's because he's presenting her with this fantasy of safety.
I think it's probably that too, and the fact that she doesn't have the triggers. Like, the reason she stabbed those people was to save Tamlin.
That's true. Sorry.
Her PTSD has been building up, and like she's been like getting these triggering items occurring to her specifically at the Spring Court. So take her away from that environment, she might see certain things, but that association isn't with it right now. So like, it's just probably it's just another way of compartmentalizing.
I agree.
I think she needs like maybe one or two things together that set her off, whereas as they're disparate parts, she might be able to gloss over, just push it out of her mind the way she does all the other stuff.
Especially with help. Help.
He does not ask questions. Like Di is saying right now, like she even says that the tea tasted funny and there was like an herb that she couldn't place. So it's like she's noticing these things, but she's like, I'm not going to ask questions. Like,
I'm just going to float in my bathtub in the sky and drink my drugged tea.
Bryce does that too. She's like, I don't have time to ask this question. I'm like, if y'all just took a single ounce of time, just stop talking to yourselves and take the time that you need to ask the question. Okay, wait. Yeah, Di said an herb she couldn't place. Let's see. Oh, someone said Nesta couldn't sit by the fire. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was reading the comments where it says it's a book. She could have picked any other color. She's picking this red. SJM is picking this red to show us that. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even the book itself.
Yes, is red. Yeah. Funny, this is turquoise. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also in ACOTAR chapter 29, he massages her with oils smelled like something she was too tired to notice. Yeah, they always have too tired, too busy, It's okay. Yeah. I should have. That's my fault. Massages her. Yeah, crazy. This has been so fun so far. Oh my gosh, it's already 2:10. Time literally flies by.
I know.
Does anyone in the comments have anything else they want to?
Yeah, like chat about. We'll do this again. I mean, maybe. I was kind of thinking like we could do something like this again once we get to the end of this book, like kind of maybe every like halfway point.
I like it.
I love talking about this book, so
yeah,
I always talk about this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Morgan had a really good idea about sometime doing a trivia.
There's also Cards Against Humanity too.
Yes,
ACOTAR Cards Against Humanity.
Before the licensing stuff changed, I wanted to do like a business. I wanted to do a trivia card thing, different than Cards Against Humanity, but we were thinking about doing maybe a monthly like trivia night where we kind of bring some questions, Megan and I, and maybe we'll have like a little giveaway prize. Not like a big thing, but just a little giveaway. And there are apps you can use where people can like put the answers, so you can't change your answers. But we thought that'd be really fun to kind of bring everyone together, so you don't have to leave your house. We can just all do, ACOTAR trivia together.
Yeah.
If you guys think this is fun.
Yes, I'm sorry I had to dip out for literally all of it.
That's okay. I know she's working. She requested off like a sweetie pie, but she
They were
she's like,
supposed to go. They told me I was going to have it up, and I'm looking at my schedule, and it doesn't happen. So I could be here for half an hour, and hopefully I don't get any chats, and then immediately got like the most complicated.
oh
chat.
no, that's the worst. Oh, Bella,
That's
we're so
always
glad you got
the
to be here. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's any other comments we missed.
I know. Do we have last minute little theories we want to talk about?
Yeah,
and then we can just save the rest for next time for sure.
You all know that I'm like, this whole thing is eugenics. Everywhere's eugenics.
Yeah.
Such a theme for all of it. Everyone is Valg. Everyone is.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Ella. Let me see here.
Who was I chatting to? It was Cheryl.
Ella's catching us at the end. We're getting ready to get off, Elle. I'm sorry. I'm so glad that you guys all got to come and hang out. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the invite.
Whirls and swirls are word marks. Absolutely, whirls and swirls are word marks. That's just canon.
Absolutely.
We're canoning that. Love you. Love you. So yeah, Candy, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, Tasha.
Thank you.
Sarah came on.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was so much fun.
Thank you, everybody in the
fun.
chat. We've had such a good time, and we want to do this. We also, as you know, we go live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're probably going to do this again at the end of this book, so we're about halfway through. But you can read along with us. You can come and yap and recap every Thursday. We do have a giveaway. If you missed it, we have just got together a giant giveaway, and we're going to announce it next week, the winner, next Thursday. You do not have to participate in next Thursday's live to win, but we will announce it, and then we'll post the winner. Make sure you follow Yap and Recap Megan if you can comment so that they can follow. So Megan's going to comment, follow this page so that you can see the announcement for it, and it won't be too much, but you'll have lots of chances for extra entries, and we're really excited. But this was so much fun. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you, Candy. Thank you, everyone. Bye, Tasha. We love you guys. All right. Bye, you guys. Have a great day. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Bye.
Bye.